Good evening and welcome to St. James Family Worship, the perfect place for people who aren't. I thank God that you've taken the time to be a part of this devotional review. This is day 53, and tonight we're talking about godly habits. Godly habits. Our key verse is 1 Timothy 4:15. Practice these things, devote your life to them so that everyone can see your progress. First of all, let's define habit. Habit is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. My. We all have some habits. A habit is a custom, a pattern, a routine, a mannerism that has become second nature to you. You do it without even thinking about it. In the devotional tonight, Paul is encouraging Timothy in our key text to devote his life in the practice of these things. What are the things Paul is talking about in this verse? Godly things, godly habits, godly character. To see these habits or characters, we have to step back a few verses to verses 6 through 16. I encourage you to read the whole chapter, because in verses 6 through 16 is these things that Paul was encouraging Timothy about. Because in these verses, Paul lay out several guidelines for things that need to become habitual. Paul says to train yourself to live a godly life. We're talking about godly habits. And he said, train yourself to live a godly life, because godly living helps you in every way of life. In verse 12, he says, make your speech, your behavior, your love, your faith, and your purity an example for other believers. So when we talk about your speech, make your words, your talk, your conversation an example to other believers. Stay away from foolish talk and gossip, because you're trying to get godly habits flowing in your life. Be as David, and let the words of your mouth and the meditation of your heart be acceptable in God's sight. He said, oh my goodness, my Lord, my God, my strength, my Redeemer. Now, behavior. Make your behavior an example to other believers. Practice being good. I should say that again. Practice being good, having good behavior. A lot of times when you see kids in school young, they'll say they were well behaved. Behavior is important. So make your behavior an example so that other people can see the way you act and be blessed by it. Practice being good. Develop the habit of behaving like a child of God. God's children don't behave in an ungodly fashion. God's children don't behave any kind of way out in the street. So practice godly behavior so that when people see you, when people hear about you, they're not hearing crazy, outlandish things about you, because your behavior is one fit for a child of God. Your love. Make your love an example to other believers. The word says, by this you'll know that you are my disciples if you have love one for another. Love everyone, even your enemies, and make it a habit of practice to always love. Paul said your faith, something you need to become a habit. Your faith. Let your faith be an example to other believers. People are watching you as children of God. They notice your faith and your confidence. Exercise your faith and even put your faith on display from time to time so other people will see your faith and believe that God is able to do anything. Purity. Paul said purity is something you should develop, and it be a godly habit. Let your purity be an example to other believers. Let your purity be an example to other believers. The word says everyone should know how to possess their vessels or their body in sanctification and in honor. In other words, live a pure life with pure devotion to God so that God can use you. Paul said, practice these things, devote your life to them so that everyone can see your progress. When you practice godly habits and devote your life to godly speech, godly behavior, real love, strong faith, and purity, you display the real character of God, and everyone can see it and not, they see it and it's not fake. Does that make sense? They see it and it's not fake. They see your speech. They see your faith. They see your purity, and they know you are for real. Why? Because you have learned to practice godly habits. I pray tonight that you are practicing godly habits, and one of the godly habits that you're practicing right now is meeting me here each night at 7 o'clock for this devotional review, and in the mornings during the day doing your devotional. That's a godly habit, and it's going to pay off in the long run. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer.